Welcome everyone to this review of WWE SmackDown episode of April 26th. This marks the start of the draft. Without further ado, here's what happened. The show begins with a contract signing between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles for Cody's first title defense. The contract signing went smoothly and was almost uneventful, with AJ Styles saying he learned a lot from Dusty Rhodes. Cody mentioned that everyone respects AJ, but that respect will be set aside at Backlash. AJ also added that it was great to see Cody complete his story, but it's unfortunate that his reign will end at Backlash. The two men then shook hands. Triple H kicks off the start of the draft with Cody Rhodes by his side on stage. It's worth noting that earlier, Paul Heyman announced that Roman Reigns would not be participating in the draft. Bianca Belair and Carmelo Hayes are announced for SmackDown, while Jey Uso and Seth Rollins are announced for Raw. Carmelo Hayes' music plays, and he arrives on stage to challenge Cody Rhodes tonight. The champion accepts. I like seeing champions compete often, even when their titles aren't on the line. The opening match of the evening saw the LWO's Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio defeat Legado del Fantasma Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza in a relatively quick match. After the match, Santos Escobar arrives with Elektra Lopez and declares that he is not a liar. He claims that he wasn't the one who attacked Dragon Lee before WrestleMania. He has security footage to prove it. The footage shows Carlito attacking Dragon Lee backstage. In the ring, Carlito pushes Dragon Lee into Rey Mysterio and then delivers his backstabber before leaving through the crowd. This ongoing story between the LWO and Legado del Fantasma is taking a new turn with Carlito's betrayal. Let's see how it unfolds. Bron Breakker defeated Cedric Alexander in just a few seconds with a spear. Another squash match for Bron Breakker, which is becoming repetitive. It's time for him to face more serious opponents. Backstage, Nick Aldis informs Tiffany Stratton that she will face Naomi tonight. The winner of the match will face Bayley at WWE Backlash France. When Stratton asks who came up with the idea, Bayley arrives to tell her it was her idea. In the second round of the draft, Randy Orton and Nia Jax are announced for SmackDown, while Bron Breakker and Liv Morgan are announced for Raw. Bianca Belair is being interviewed on the ramp when a women's tag team championship match is announced between the Kabuki Warriors and the team of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. During the interview, Kevin Owens and Tama Tonga show up on the ramp and continue to brawl. The fight continues in the ring. Solo Sikoa joins Tama Tonga to beat up Kevin Owens, but Randy Orton comes to help Owens and chase away the bloodline. There are two things to note. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill have a 99% or even 100% chance of becoming the next women's tag team champions. It's also cool to see the partnership between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton continue. It's also worth noting that Tama Tonga is making a strong impression since his arrival. For the third round of the draft, Ricochet and Sheamus are announced for Raw, while the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga and Paul Heyman and LA Knight are announced for SmackDown. We move on to the match between Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. It was a good match, but it ended in a no contest. Nia Jax didn't wait for the end of the draft and came to attack Bayley, who was at the commentary table. Naomi tried to help, but Nia Jax also attacked her, causing the match to end. After the match, Tiffany Stratton, still unsatisfied, executed her prettiest moonsault ever on both Bayley and Naomi. For the round 4 of the draft, AJ Styles and Andrade are announced for SmackDown. Alpha Academy and Kiana James are announced for Raw. Additionally, after the show, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, Ivar, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark are announced for Raw. Cedric Alexander, Ashante Adonis, Baron Corbin, and the OC are announced for SmackDown. Notable takeaways include the main roster debut of Carmelo Hayes and Kiana James, and the return of Baron Corbin to SmackDown. Backstage, Nick Aldis and Teddy Long announced 2 matches for WWE Backlash France. Bayley will defend her WWE Women's Championship against Tiffany Stratton and Naomi. We will also have a tag team match with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens facing Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. For the main event, Cody Rhodes defeated Carmelo Hayes by pinfall using his crossroads. It was a good match where Carmelo Hayes showcased his abilities to everyone who may not have been familiar with him. Being in the main event for his debut on SmackDown demonstrates that WWE has faith in him, as evidenced by his selection as the second pick in the first round of the draft for SmackDown. After the match, as Cody celebrates, AJ Styles approaches him from behind. He seems to want to attack, but Cody turns around, and eventually, the two wrestlers shake hands. The show ends like this. That's the end of this review. Did you enjoy this episode of WWE SmackDown? Until the next video, take care. See you soon.